so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave move through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Freedom Network. I'm Gary Rosenberg, your host. I'm so glad that you decided to join us once again right here on the Freedom Network, gaining more and more momentum, getting more and more emails from further and further and further away, thanks to obvious online capabilities, and then really enjoying getting all the emails. I mean, we are just flying with emails here all week long, really, with show ideas, questions, debates, all that kind of stuff. So keep it up. We respond to them all. Sometimes, well, I don't say we. It's me. I respond to them all. But it may take me a day or two to get back to you as they just, they come in, and sometimes I have to find answers and things of that nature, but I do make sure that I devote plenty of time, you can ask my wife about that, to responding and fact-finding and finding out information for everybody. And it takes up a whole lot of time, but it's something that you want answers to, and I've been pretty successful in getting them to you on the political front. timorgary@gmail.com. That's how you get a hold of us via the online way, and of course the telephone number is right up there on your screen. You are more than welcome to call, although I know most people prefer to email. They like the anonymity of the email, and that's fine. We talk about a lot of touchy stuff. Sometimes people don't want their name attached to their opinion. It's too bad in the United States of America we have to feel that way, but that's okay. I'll blurt it out there for you. Don't you worry about it. I am more than used to it. Online group, the Freedom Network. It's on Facebook. You find me, and you'll find it. It's actually do the group, don't do the page. We've been trying to convert over from the page to the group. People seem to like it better. We're up to about 250, I guess, or so people that are part of the group, and I thank you for those that have shared it. We're trying to grow that. I'd like to grow it to the email base that we have, because the email base is far exceeding that, and it's a great place to have conversation when we can't always have the program on. We're only here once a week, but I'm online all the time. Once again, just ask my wife. She'll tell you. So if you want to do that, you are more than welcome to. So if you can find me on Facebook, you'll be able to find the group. If you want to email me and you can't find the group, I can email you back a link to the group. So no excuses. You can get on there if you want to. Emails that we have to go over. I got a few from the last week that we'll touch on. Let's see here. Then we have a lot of stuff to go on. We're going to talk about Hillary a little bit today. I'm going to tell you that. Open topics always, though. If you have something you want to get out there, just email it in or call it in, and we'll put it right on out there. Just like this person that just emailed in. Gary, glad you're on. No problem. That comes from Dave. Dave, I'm glad to be on. Let's see here. John says, Gary, love the show, and you are so right about Jeb or Hillary. I was actually a Jeb voter until I thought about all the years we would be led by only 3 families, and wow, I don't think I can do either. My wife is a liberal. You should attend dinner at my house sometime, ha ha ha. Well, that's fine. I don't miss that many meals, so you'll send along the menu and the address, and I'll be sure to be there. No problem, John. And I've talked to her, he says, about this, and she herself is now thinking she will not be able to vote for Hillary for this reason. We hadn't really thought about it. It was a great call out. Now we're both in limbo. Thanks a lot. Well, John, you're welcome. But, what we were talking about and what John's talking about there is the fact that, 1988 to 2016, which then could become 2020, which then could become 2024, you're looking at three families ruling over America. Now, whether you're a Bush fan or not, look, one thing about this program, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, is that I call them out. I don't care if they're conservatives. I don't care if they're liberals. I don't care who they are. If they're anti-America, Constitution, that kind of stuff, I'm going to call it out. And having another Bush in office is disgusting. It's just disgusting. I do not think that I'm going to be able to bring myself to vote for him, even if he is the nominee. So then people say, well, you're throwing your vote away. Well, I don't know if I'm throwing my vote away. I just don't know. We'll see what happens, John. We'll see. I mean, it's early. We got to watch. We got to get some debates. We got to get some not the stuff that we see on Facebook all the time, but we need to hear from them. And when we start to hear from them, I'll make a decision. I'll be very public about the decision I'm going to make. I don't mind Ted Cruz. It makes me a little nervous on some issues, but I don't mind. Rand Paul makes me very nervous with some of the isolationist stuff, only because it's not the same world it was, and there are people that want to do us harm. I mean, even if we pulled every troop out of everywhere, unfortunately, human beings are somewhat combative. They always have been since the beginning of time. So I don't think that that's going to just stop because America lives in her own borders and doesn't do anything. Now, that's an argument, but that's an argument that can be made on both sides. I am just nervous about being wrong on the other side, because with everything we've got going on here in America right now, it's still America. Some people say we're free, some people say we're not free, but maybe no one in the world is free, but maybe we're a little freer than the other people. I don't know how you want to look at it, but I don't want to give up on America, and I do think that some of Rand's policies could be a little bit destructive to the future of the country, to be honest with you. At the same time, I applaud, respect, and love his devotion to the Constitution, so much to the point that I'm still an undecided type of a guy. And I look at Santorum, I look at some of the others that we've talked about over the past weeks, and to be quite honest with you, John, I just don't know yet. There's just not quite enough information. I'm not seeing that one, whoa, this is the guy that's got to be there. Even Rand has been involved with politics for a long time, but maybe he's that one guy. I just don't know. What do you think? I mean, if you guys have any thoughts on that, certainly email them or call them in. This one comes from Kerry. Gary, love the more national topics. I know people want to talk local, and I am from Northbridge, and I do like to talk local sometimes, but I love having a show like this in town. No one else has the guts to tell it like it is, and then go to Shaw's and go shopping. Well, that's pretty much what I do. You see me all over town. I don't hide. Excuse me. I just can't shake the end of this cold. I just can't do it. I think it's. I was waiting for the rain to help me with the allergies. Now I'm thinking maybe it's just the longest lingering cold known to man, because I would think that the rain would have helped with that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm no doctor or scientist. Let me know. No one else. Let's see. Okay, we talked about Shaw's. All right. And that was me that said hello to you in Shaw's the other day. Kerry, now I have a name to go along with you, because I remember exactly who you are. These local polls are a waste of time. I try to have as little to do with them as I can, because the attitude you get if you go against the grain in this town is so childish. I just can't stand it. I'm with you. I support the schools. We have kids in them. And beyond that, I'm just not wasting time talking to them or to most of the groups in this town that you find on Facebook, because for the most part, with some well-meaning people running them, all they do on the comments is look down their noses at you. Anyway, Gary, thanks, and our whole family tunes in every week. Well, hello, Kerry, and hello, Kerry's family. Glad to have you tuned in this week and every week, and we should be on most every week. It is the summertime. There may be a pattern of an every other week here or there, but we'll keep you posted, and the way you can find that out is by finding that group. If you want the group info, certainly just send me an email. And we're working on getting a way to just email everybody and let you know what's going on. Let's see, Don. Don says, how could you not like Obama? He ended the wars, gas is like $2.60, and the world now respects us, as he told us the other day. What do you say to that? Okay, Don, here's what I say to it. There are no ended wars, first of all. Like we learned with George Bush, you can declare victory at any time you want. Doesn't mean you have won. We've not won anything. We still have troops in Iraq and Afghanistan and all over the place. Wars are raging on right now. Gas, I just paid more than $2.60. But don't forget what the price was when Obama took office. And Don, I think you need to go look a few things up. I'm not going to give you all the answers. I'll lead you to water, but you got to drink, Don. But let's just say it was a little bit less than that. The world now respects us, as he told us the other day. Well, you may feel that when Obama speaks, you're required to listen and believe everything he says. Again, Don, I beg you to go and do some research and get online and look at some of the quotes. Why don't you Google quotes from foreign leaders about America? Or better yet, refine that to recent. It's not pretty. I halfway want to do it right now so I can share it with you, but I don't know if I have the time. But maybe at the end of the show we will have the time. Let's see. Joel says, Gary, what happened to the government can? Oh, and I forgot to see. Do we have that? We do. Maybe we'll give that a shot, Joel. Maybe we'll give it a shot. Let's see. Richard, if it's Jeb and Hillary, we've lost America. Richard, I tend to agree with you. I do tend to agree with you. I just don't see the outcome being very good. James says, Gary, go get him. Love when you get mad because you calm me down, buddy, because I'm always mad about politics. Great show. Don't go anywhere. I don't plan on going anywhere. Like I said, we may have a few missed weeks here and there over the summer. Time to spend, good time with the family and do things and vacations and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be around. We're not going to just, abandon the show, nor am I going to move it. I'm up here. I live up here, and I live close by, so it makes it real convenient for everybody. The food drive. Yes, we talked about it some weeks ago. I have had some emails on it. I have some people that are inquiring and trying to set up food drives in their local towns. And if you want to help in your local town, email me. Just email me, and I'll send you some information and ways to get started, because that's something that the Freedom Network is trying to do. We're trying to if we can, I guess, as a long-term goal, is get one person from every state, maybe that we could get involved in it. But right now, at this point, we're just looking to set this thing up. So what we need is some volunteers, people that may want to organize some stuff. It's not as hard as you think, and you can get a lot of help to do it. It's amazing, and it's usually for a fantastic cause. For people that just don't have the money to buy the food, and they're in there and they're able to get food, and they're people that are sometimes just like you and I that are working may not qualify for certain public assistance, which is disgusting sometimes, but that's for another show. And to be honest with you, everybody needs to eat, so that's something that we're trying to link up with. All right, best quote I saw on Facebook last week. And it was not attributed to anybody. But let's see. It says, best quote I saw on Facebook. Where am I? This is America. We speak English. We drink beer. We eat meat. We own guns. We love freedom. If you don't like it, tough, you know what. I just thought that was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. What can I tell you? I enjoyed it. Okay, let's see. This one comes from Rich, I believe. Gary, so I just finished watching Wolf Blitzer interview with Lincoln Chafee. Wolf really seemed to go after him and grill him on every view he had different than Hillary. Should I expect Blitzer or anyone at CNN will challenge Hillary in the same way, or am I just wishful thinking? How can it be nobody seems to know or care about all her incompetence? Please help me understand. Well, that's a tall order to help. Well, maybe I can help you understand, but it's going to be tough for me to. I mean, I got the Freedom Network, and yeah, we can be viewed from anywhere, and we spew out the truth or the opinions that we see. But you know what? This is how I think you got to think about it. First of all, no. What they'll do is they'll have some predetermined hardball questions that they will throw at Hillary when they have Hillary on, and of course they will. People don't know because it doesn't get reported, or when it does, it gets reported with spin. So everything has an angle, especially when it comes to liberal media, which is 80% of it, I would probably say, in the mainstream arena, and you've got a few conservative. But I will tell you this, they all have an agenda. There is no media left in America without agenda. None. I can't find it. And when I read a news story, Rich, I read it very differently than maybe other people do. I dig down into the actual verbiage of what they're saying, when they say it, where they place certain things within an article or within a newspaper or a web page or a news story. So what will happen is that Hillary will go on. She will get some softball questions. She'll know what is coming beforehand that will be leaked to her. Don't worry, they'll never find the email. And what'll happen is you'll see a little genuflecting and that kind of stuff, and you won't get any real. It'll just be another political ad, is what it will turn out to be for her. So why don't people care about it? You know what it is? They don't care about it because they unfortunately have been conditioned and brainwashed not to care. And they've been conditioned that Fox News is biased, and it is biased. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Fox isn't biased. They don't just report and you decide. They try to push an agenda as well. The problem is that you've got so many on one side and so few on the other in the mainstream that, lies become truths. And I mean, we've seen this countless times from Hitler and before and Hitler and after. But Hitler's a great example because he used the media to, and you see things now with the information controls that they're now starting to put on the internet and things like that. They will tighten their grip, the government, on anything, and they will give favor to what grows the cause, which is the government. So you get so into it, it's almost like you go to work, right? Everybody works. Or most people work. You go into your break room and there's a bunch of stuff up on the wall, right? I mean, you got to have this up there and that up there and this up there and that up there, right? And your bosses expect you to read it all and to know all this stuff. You don't know what's up on that wall. Let's face it. You don't know what's up there. You might know one or two things, but you don't come in and read it because it becomes wallpaper. Rich, that's exactly what happens to the news. It becomes wallpaper. They all say the same thing. So somebody like you may decide, well, let me look into this, that, or the other thing. Unfortunately, not everybody does. And then they're at the barbecue, and then they're at this one. And then what happens, and this is the real thing, is they make it so that you are, like with Obama. If you don't like Obama in many circles, you are a racist. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. If you don't like Hillary, listen, let me put it this way. If what's going to happen is you're going to stop being a racist, okay, if you don't like Obama, and you're going to start to be a sexist, okay, if you don't like Hillary. And that's what's going to happen. And people are going to say, well, no one's going to vote. You don't want to vote for her because she's a woman. Well, I don't want to vote for her because she's a liar. She's a cheat. She's just absolutely, positively the epitome of what we don't want running America. And we're going to get into her. And if you have people that are on that Hillary bandwagon, Rich or Beth, have them tune in right now. Because I've got some pretty good information on that maybe, we don't see. We should see the news at 11 o'clock should be running with these stories because they're hot topics. How is Hillary the front runner? How is that even possible? It's possible because of the media. And I hate to sound like a big conspiracy theorist, but look, folks, there's no other way to make sense of why a normal, rational human being would think that Hillary Clinton should be the next president of the United States of America. Why? Why? I want someone to call me or email me. You tell me why, and we can debate it out right here. But you know what? I don't know that the phone's going to be a-ringing. Watch, now it'll ring. But that's just my feeling. But if you want to, go ahead. I know all kinds of stuff about Hillary. Look, let's go back to Bill's presidency and look at Hillary's actions. Let's look at the banking issues that they had, if you remember, with the savings and loans. What happened to Vince Foster? Huh? I mean, you've got a trail by the Clintons of death, rape, destruction, demoralization, character assassination. These folks play hardball. You ever watch those political shows on television where all those angles are there? And people laugh at TV shows. It's interesting because those everything has a reason, everything has an angle, everything's a deal because of another deal. No one's doing the people's work. They're just doing their own work. I'm about as sick of it as you guys are. Unbelievable. All right, let me move on. Thanks for the email. Keep them coming anytime. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Here, I put together a few just tidbits of information before we get into Hillary. It's interesting that you emailed on it, but let's see here. Just remember, okay, everybody, that Martha Stewart had $220,000 roughly in unpaid taxes. She spent 18 months in jail, 18 months. Al Capone, he had $150,000. Now, it's a lot more today, but he had $150,000 in unpaid taxes. He did 11 years in jail. Obviously, we know how his world ended up, but that's what he was able to serve. And you know what else is interesting about that? Well, let me get you where I'm going. Leona Helmsley, $1.2 million in unpaid taxes, spent 19 months in the can. 19 months in the can. And the Reverend Al Sharpton has $4.5 million in unpaid taxes, walks around like a free man, like nothing's going on. No, there's no bias in the IRS. There's no bias in the media. There's nothing to see here, folks. Move along. The mainstream media attacked and still does Tom Brady for not turning over all of his texts and his emails. Excuse me. I have to pardon myself that. I'm sorry. But the same media, same networks, give Hillary a pass on turning all of her emails over, even though it's required by the Federal Records Act. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. Move along. Think about this. Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus, but she didn't trash the bus. What do the rioters think that they're gaining by trashing other people's businesses? It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Protesting that got results never looked like the protesting that we're seeing today. It just never did. And what we're seeing out there today is not going to get any results, none at all. And it takes away from the reality that there are issues out there that need to be addressed, and they will not be addressed because of the very people that want them addressed. Kind of ironic, isn't it? Their actions will ensure more of the same. They will. Any thoughts on that? Let me know. This is what freedom looks like in America today. Ready? Go to school. Get a job. Go to work. Get married. Have kids. Get your tax break so you can have your kids in your marriage. Watch TV. Listen to the network news, the mainstream media. Obey all the laws that we pass. And now repeat after me. I am free. Kind of junk is that? All right. On the Tolerate Islam movement that is going through the liberal and progressive arenas, I have a question for you. Well, let me ask you this. All right, look, you want me to tolerate, you want the West to tolerate Islam. Okay. How about this? We'll tolerate it when Islam, okay, tolerates atheism, Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, and other religions, as well as democracy, homosexuality, alcohol, women's rights, free speech, and freedom in general. When they do that, I'll lead the charge. Until then, I'm not buying it. Think about this. 200 years ago, we were ready to have, and eventually did, fight a war, okay? A bloody, nasty war over a 2% tax on a breakfast beverage. What the hell happened? What happened? What happened? Legislators want teachers to be paid according to how well their students do on tests that they have a hand in developing. And when they develop these tests, they put, Common Core and all these requirements and inclusion classes and all this stuff that nobody wants to talk about because you could be labeled something. You don't want to be labeled anything. God forbid you don't want to be labeled anything. Well, you can label me all you want. I don't care. I don't care. How about we pay legislators according to their effectiveness like they want to do with teachers? We can evaluate them on job creation, economic growth, and pay them the average wage of the people they represent. How about that? How about we try that? Hillary Clinton wants you to elect her as the next president, but she can't handle two email accounts at one time. She can't have 2 email accounts at one time, but she wants to run the free world. Jeb Bush is the front-runner Republican, and I can't find any Republicans that are voting for him in the primary. And let me tell you, folks, I run around with a lot of Republicans, talk to a lot of them every day. I don't know anybody that's voting for Jeb Bush. I don't know anybody. Not one person that I know in my political circles is voting for Jeb Bush. I know of people that are, of course, out on the talk of the tune, talk of the town, talk of the internet, all that stuff. But I don't know anybody that's voting. He's the only. This is another reason, Richard and Beth. This is another reason, and this is a tool of the media. This guy is not a front runner. He's being made the front runner because he's vulnerable, because they can beat him. Don't people see this stuff? Don't you see it? Don't you want to open your eyes up a little bit? You just open them a little bit, and you could make a big difference in this country. Okay? You don't have to jump all the way over to the other side. That's all right. All right. Here are some quotes from our founders on religion. All right? This is why they wanted to see a separation. And if you look at the countries that don't have this separation of church and state, you will see that they're really all messed up, folks. I mean, just look at the Middle East, ruled by religion, and among the most violent places you could ever want to live or even try to exist. So what did they think about religion? A lot of talk about this. I take a little bit of flack from my side, if you will. See, I don't have a side. You know what my side is? My side's America. That's my side. Thomas Paine rejected Orthodox Christianity. He said that his religion was to do good. His quote, "As to religion, I hold it to be the indispensable duty of government to protect all the people." Blur it out. I'm having a little, I have had a little printer issue. But anyway, to protect all the people, protesters thereof, and I know of no other business government has to do therewith. You can understand what he's saying. Persecution is not an original feature of any religion, but it is always the strongly marked feature of all religions that are established by law. Think about that one for a minute. Right on the money there, Tom. All national institutions of churches, whether Jewish, Christian, or Turkish, appear to me no other than human inventions set up to terrify and enslave mankind and monopolize power and profit. It's Thomas Paine. I mean, you know who these people are, folks. Like I always say, there's no need to interpret. You don't have to interpret anything. It's right here. Thomas Jefferson. Though he did have respect for Jesus as a teacher of moral truths, he did not attend church and rejected many of the Bible's teachings. There's a great documentary on that you can catch on History. It's fantastic. Many of his contemporary Christians dismissed Jefferson as like a heretic, and this was real big back then. He says, "I contemplate with sovereign reverence that the act of the whole American people, which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state." This was a letter to the Danbury Baptist, January 1st, 1802. He sent to Sam Miller, who was a reverend, 1808 in January. Everyone must act according to the dictates of his own reason. And mine tells me that civil powers alone have been given to the President of the United States and no authority to direct the religious exercises of his constituents. The legitimate powers of government extend to such acts only as are injurious to others, but it does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Note to the state, this was on the state of Virginia. This was back in 1781, in between 81 and 85. And the last one from him, history, I believe, furnishes no example of a priest-ridden people maintaining a free civil government. This marks the lowest grade of ignorance of which their civil as well as religious leaders will always avail themselves to their own purposes. That was to Alexander von Humboldt, December 6, 1813. Folks, There's fascinating stuff out there. What you got to do is be careful where you get your quotes. You want to go to, you can go to like Smithsonian. You can go to, that's a pretty good one to be honest with you. But there's others that you can go to because people just put quotes out there as if whomever said them may have said them. But you want to try to go there. A lot of these I got from Smithsonian. Some of them I actually got from their own archives. You can actually search a lot of the founding fathers, and they have official websites, but you've got to make sure that it's the right one. It's very difficult. I can send you all the links you want. I have people email me for links for stuff we do on the show all the time. If you want them, just let me know. I've usually got them saved in the computer. If not, I can go back and I can find them for you. John Adams was a Trinitarian Unitarian. He did not attend other churches and considered himself outside of the Orthodox religion. His quote, just a couple of them, the government of the United States is not in any sense founded upon the Christian religion. 1797, the Treaty of Tripoli, initiated by President Washington, signed by Adams, and approved by the Senate of the United States. Plain and simple. That's out there. The government of the United States is not in any sense founded upon the Christian religion. Now, I know that we all want to say we're a country based and founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and we are on principles, but not... Let me go through these and I'll give you my spiel. Let's see. The United States of America has exhibited perhaps the first example of governments erected on the simple principles of nature, and if men are now sufficiently enlightened to disabuse themselves of imposture and hypocrisy and superstition, they will consider this event as an era in their history. Although the detail of the formation of the American government is at present little known or regarded, either in Europe or in America for that fact, it may hereafter become an object of curiosity. It will never be pretended that any persons employed in that service had interviews with the gods, or were in any degree under the influence of heaven, more than those at work upon ship or house, or laboring in merchandise or agriculture, will forever be acknowledged that these governments were contrived merely by the use of reason and sense. That's a defense of the Constitution of the Government of the United States of America, 1787-1788. 13 governments of the original states, thus founded on the natural authority of the people alone, without a pretense of miracle or mystery, and which are destined to spread over the northern part of that whole quarter of the globe, are a great point gained in favor of the rights of mankind. And I'll leave this last one with Washington. He occasionally attended churches as an adult, including the Episcopalian Church as a Roman Catholic church, and at least one Quaker meeting that I was able to find. Washington never espoused a formal religious affiliation as an adult, really like a deist, you know what I mean? Most of these people were. We have an abundant reason to rejoice that in this land the light of truth and reason has triumphed over the power of bigotry and superstition, and that every person may here worship God according to that dictates of his own heart. In this enlightened age, and in the land of equal liberty, it is our boast that a man's religious tenets will not forfeit the protection of the laws, nor deprive him of the rights of attaining and holding the highest offices that are known in the United States. He sent that to the New Church in Baltimore in 1793. In 1789, to the Baptist Chamber, United Baptist Chamber, of Virginia, he said, if I could conceive that the general government might ever be so administered as to tender the liberty of conscience insecure, I beg that you be persuaded that no one will be more zealous than myself to establish effectual barriers against the horrors of spiritual tyranny and every species of religious persecution. Folks, the reason I read these to you is because I want you to have an understanding. And I, online, I am seeing a lot of talk about more religion being infused into government by those on the right. And I'm on the right, okay? But I'm not a lockstep righty that's going to go along with everything that everybody on the right says. That's not how I operate. I got my own mind and my own guide, and my guide when it comes to government is not the Bible. My guide when it comes to government is the Constitution of the United States of America and the intent of the people that founded it, that made this country into a great force for freedom, for economy, for everything. And now I'm seeing the right sometimes you're a little too religious. A little too religious for me. Look, folks, I'll call out the right as fast as the left when they're full of it. And that's what makes me the opposite of a liberal. I don't walk lockstep with anybody. Nobody owns my thoughts. And nobody should own yours. I just use the Constitution and the intent of the founders as the blueprint for a great America. It's worked before and it can work again. It's not working right now because we're not following it. I have no care to see America ruled by religion. We need one thing to put America on track for success and turn from this path of destruction that we're on, and it's not religion. That belongs in your home. It belongs in your private life. You know, being free to pray to who you want, when you want, and for whatever reason you want, that's America. That has nothing to do with government. You find religion in our Constitution. Of course you can. Of course you can find religion in it. But they took what they wanted, they just left the rest out. If they wanted the Bible in it, they would have put it in it. Plain and simple. These were not people that were afraid to speak their mind and fight with their own blood for what they believed in. Maybe we should listen to them once in a while. So, I want to call the right out on this issue. We need to fix America, and the fix isn't in the Bible, it's in the Constitution. If I take heat for that, I am okay with it. Because fact is, we're a nation with freedom of religion, not a nation of a specific religion. All right. There's a couple coming in. I see you. I see you. Gary, I think that America is a religious nation, or it should be, because a religious nation would be a much stronger and freer nation. I don't know if I agree with that. Ronald, I can't agree with that. Because look at the religious nations that are out there right now. Look at them. Are they all free? Are they wonderful paradises and places to live in? Is this a my religion better than your religion? Because all the religions out there, if followed to the T, we should be stoning people. We should be, cutting off hands. We should be doing all kinds of things. Women shouldn't have any rights at all. You really want that? I don't want that. All right. I mean, what do you think? You tell me. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But if I'm wrong, then those founding fathers are wrong. And if those founding fathers are wrong and you don't believe that this is what America should be, that's okay. You don't have to believe it's what America should be, but it's what America is supposed to be. Which means you got to rethink about where you want to plant your roots on this globe that we call Earth. Because it may not be here. You can go to religious nations. You can go live you can go live wherever you want. There's no wall to keep you in. I wish there was a wall to keep you out. Not you, but people that shouldn't be here out. But there's no wall to keep you in. America's a free country. 100%, right? If followed by the Constitution, you do what you want to do. I think we have to get back to that. And you know what's really disgusting is that makes me a radical. To say that I want to follow the Constitution of the United States of America, the law of the land, the thing that made the greatest, most powerful country in the world. That's what I want to follow. And I'm the radical? And Hillary Clinton's mainstream? Hillary Clinton is a complete radical with no respect for the Constitution, just like her old boss, Mr. Obama. No respect for that Constitution. None whatsoever. And you know what? Nor have any of the presidents probably since Ronald Reagan. To be quite honest with you, this has become a game about money and power, not about representation. I'd like to pay none of them anything more than the average of what the people that they represent get paid. And maybe even 50% less, and let them go get a real job. A real job. These career politicians been in service to their country. You're not serving the country, you're destroying it by being there 20, 30, 40, 50 years. What the hell is wrong with people? Rich, you got me all wound up, bud. All right, let's talk about Clinton. We got to talk about that Clinton Foundation, though, if I'm going to talk about her. Because her politics, we're going to get into as we get closer to the election season. She will be the nominee. Let me tell you, make no mistake about it. The media has made the decision. The powers that be have made the decision. They like her, they want her, they're going to have her there. It's going to take a big scandal that they're forced to report on. Forced. You know, prior to the release of the New York Times best-selling investigative expose, Clinton Cash, by Government Accountability Institute President Breitbart, he's also Breitbart Senior Editor-at-Large. It's Peter Schweizer, I think is how you say his name. Hillary Clinton and her supporters claim that she was among the most vetted political figures in the United States of America, a candidate about whom everything was known. Did you know that she threw ashtrays and stuff like that at Bill Clinton? Did you know that? Because maybe you didn't know that. But media outlets across the spectrum have confirmed and verified that the book's explosive revelations about Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State and the influx of hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign sources into the Clinton Foundation might be a little bit of a problem. You know, it's amazing. It's just amazing. This is funny. CNN's John King put it Sunday, you can't go 20 minutes in this town, it seems, without some sort of a story about the Hillary Clinton Foundation that gives you a bit of the creeps. When you start to see individuals on CNN, now you've got the shills and you've got the reporters that are, they don't really know they're shills, but they are, because they're fed the BS and they pass the BS. But you've got the real shills, and let me tell you, they're dangerous people. Wolf Blitzer, absolute shill. Shill. That's all he is. That's all he is. Let's see here. Let me move through some of this and get to some of these examples. Let's see. Oh, historic lows in her favorability with American voters, but another front runner. Just like Jeb Bush, right? The front runner that's no one's voting for him, and no one. I can't find any. And who wants Clinton? Who wants Clinton? Are you a Democrat that supports Clinton? And do you support Clinton because you just have to have a Democrat in office so bad that you're willing to overlook the death, the destruction, and all the things that come along with the Clintons? Are you really that hard up just to make sure there's a D in the office? Because if that's the case, you're ruining America. You are ruining the whole thing. You're tilting the ship. You're breaking holes in it. You're tearing the raft. You're doing bad things. Oh boy! All right, Huffington Post. Clinton's bagged at least $3.4 million for 18 speeches funded by Keystone Pipeline banks. Bet you didn't know Keystone Pipeline had banks, but they do. Just think about that. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce and TD Bank, two of the Keystone XL Pipeline's largest investors, fully or partially bankrolled 8 Hillary Clinton speeches, put more than 1.6 in the Democratic candidate's pocket. That comes out of the Huffington Post. According to Clinton Cash, during Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, Bill Clinton delivered 10 speeches from November of 2008 to mid-11, totaling $1.8 million, paid for by TD Bank, which held $1.6 billion investments in the Keystone XL pipeline. Now, Keystone has been trying to very quietly form its own bank, if you will, but that's something you won't hear. You got to go look that up, and I don't have time to get into it. But what they're doing is they're using TD Bank and some others to kind of shadow this. Once this thing's built, let me tell you, is this a good idea, the Keystone Pipeline? Do I support it? Yeah, I probably do. The fact of the matter is the world's got resources and we got to move them around. We got to get less dependent on hostile foreign oil and more dependent, if it has to be foreign oil, on friendly oil. All right? And it's okay to let people have jobs to build pipelines. It's funny. It's okay for the shovel-ready jobs that never happen. There are none. I have not seen any created. What shovel-ready jobs are created from the stupid stimulus that we saw? If I see that shovel-ready job thing one more time, those are shovel-ready jobs. Building a pipeline is jobs. That's what it is. And even if they're temporary jobs, if you're not working, you want a temporary job, don't you? You want to feed your family, don't you? Maybe it gets you by to the next job. But you on the left, you can make that decision for everybody, can't you? You'll put them on public assistance, won't you? And then you'll trap them in public assistance, won't you? And then you'll demand their vote, or they can starve to death, won't you? See right through it. The Clinton speaking fees infuriated environmental groups, but she hasn't addressed that yet, nor will she have to. You think that Rich, you think that Wolf Blitzer is going to ask her about that? I'd be surprised if he did, unless he gives it to her first and gives her plenty of time to formulate her answer. Let's see. New York Times says that the Clinton Foundation shook down a tiny tsunami relief nonprofit for a $500,000 speaking fee. Bill Clinton refused. God, this stuff chokes me up. Bill Clinton refused to give a speech for a tiny nonprofit seeking to raise money for tsunami victims until the group agreed to pay $500,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Times reported that the Clinton Foundation, and I will quote, sent charity an invoice which amounted to almost a quarter of the evening's net proceeds. Enough to build 10 preschools in Indonesia. Guys, listen. Footnote, I'm not getting to the government can. I can't get there. I don't have enough time. Maybe we can end the show with it. When the Clinton Foundation wound up on a watch list maintained by the charity Navigator, dubbed the most prominent non-profit watchdog, reported New York Times Magazine writer, this is Gabriel Sherman, the foundation attempted to strong-arm them by calling a Navigator board member to get them off the list. Let's see. What's this email coming in? This one looks like it's coming from Jim. Jim, how about Bush for president and Hillary on the ticket with him? Ha ha ha, just kidding. Gary Rosenberg for president. Never. I'd be Jim, they'd shoot me down 3 minutes after I was elected, buddy, because we'd really change things if that was the case. Woo! Thanks for the reach out. That's coming out of New York. International Business Times says Hillary Clinton's State Department gave Clinton Foundation donors weapon deals. Under Clinton's leadership, the State Department approved $165 billion worth of commercial arms sales to 20 nations, whose governments have given money to the Clinton Foundation. According to an IB Times analyst of State Department and Foundation data, this reports IBT. That figure, derived from the 3 full fiscal years of Clinton's term as Secretary of State, that would be from 2010 in October to September of 12, represents nearly double the value of American arms sales made to those countries and approved by the State Department during the same period under George W. Bush's second term. Oh, boy. Washington Post. Clinton hit 1,100 foreign donor names in violation of ethics agreements with the Obama administration. Clinton cash revealed 5 hidden foreign donations. On the heels of the book's publication, the Post uncovered another 1,100 foreign donors in the Canada-based Clinton Gustria Enterprise Partnership, a Clinton Foundation initiative Bill Clinton erected with controversial billionaire mining executive Frank Gustra, or however you say their names. These people are disgusting. They're slime balls, and they're taking over your country with the almighty dollar. That's what they've done. I hope you feel good about that. A charity affiliated with the Clinton Foundation failed to reveal the identities of its 1,100 donors, creating a broad exception to the foundation's promise to disclose funding sources. The number of undisclosed contributors to the charity, the Canada-based Clinton partnership, signals a larger zone of secrecy around foundation donors than was previously known. You see what are you connecting the dots? In a follow-up story, the Post reports only 21 of Frank and Bill Clinton's secret 1,100 donors have subsequently been revealed. Unbelievable. At least 181 Clinton Foundation donors lobbied Hillary's State Department. This comes from Vox. Public records alone reveal nearly limitless supply of cozy relationships between the Clintons and companies with interests before the government. There's a household name in the nexus of the foundation and the State Department for every letter of the alphabet but X, often more than one. Anheuser-Busch, Boeing, Chevron, John Deere, Eli Lilly, FedEx, Goldman Sachs, HBO, Intel, JP Morgan. There's so many of them. NBC, Universal, Oracle, Procter & Gamble, Siemens, Target, Verizon, Walmart, Yahoo. Come on. Two of the top donors were major felons. When Hillary ran for president in 2008, 2 of her biggest fundraisers were conducting massive Ponzi schemes. Do you remember that? He's serving 24 years in federal prison in Michigan. Oh, one of them. Another guy, 12 years in Otisville, New York for bank fraud. These are these people. Do you not understand who they associate with? Don't you get it? Or won't you get it? Listen, Folks, this has got to stop. You've got to get control of your country here. It's running away. It's a money machine. That's all it's been turned into, is a money machine. And you're okay with it. You seem okay with it. Hillary's, Clinton's charity scored millions from Qatar and donations from corrupt FIFA soccer organization. Clinton's global charity received 50 and 100,000 from soccer's governing body and has partnered with the Federation International de Football Association on several occasions, according to the donor listing's own website. Unbelievable. They gave between 250 and 514. That's right, 2014, very recent. And the state of Qatar gave between 1 million and 5 million in previous unspecified years. The Associated Press reports the Clintons have a secret pass-through company, WJC LLC. The newly released financial files on Bill and Hillary Rodham Clinton's growing fortune omit a company with no apparent employees or assets that the former president has legally used to provide consulting and other services, but which demonstrates the complexity of the family's finances. The officials, who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to provide private details of the former president's finances on the record, said the entity was a, quote, pass-through company designed to channel payments to the former president. Hillary has yet to release the names and the amounts of payments that flowed through the hidden WJC LLC company. New York Times, Hillary funneled $10,000 monthly payments to Sidney Blumenthal through the Clinton Foundation. This is an examination by the Times that suggests Mr. Blumenthal's involvement was more wide-ranging and complicated than previous known. While advising Mrs. Clinton on Libya, Blumenthal, who had been barred from a State Department job by aides to President Obama, was also employed by her family's philanthropy, the Clinton Foundation, and worked on and off as a paid consultant to Media Matters and American Bridge, organizations that helped lay the groundwork for her 2016 campaign. Bill Clinton sought $500,000 for a speech in Moscow, paid for by a Kremlin-backed bank. The New Yorker has confirmed that the Clintons' cash reporting, Bill Clinton bagged $500,000 in a Moscow speech. It was a Russian investment bank that had ties with the Kremlin. Why Bill was taking any money from a bank with ties to the Kremlin while his wife was Secretary of the State? Nobody seems to know. Really? You don't know? Come on, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? To date, Hillary nor her campaign has answered that question. Hillary Clinton's brother sits on the board of a mining company that received a coveted Haitian gold exploration permit that has only twice been awarded in 50 years. Rodham met the mining executive in charge of the company at a Clinton Foundation event. Are you understanding what's happening here? Are you seeing it? It's unbelievable. I mean, this goes, look at, you ready? These are all different news sources, right? I got pages and pages and pages of news from things like the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal, Clinton Foundation violated memorandum of understanding with the Obama administration by keeping a secret foreign donation of 2 million shares of stock from a foreign executive with business before Hillary's State Department. Clinton cash revealed that the Canadian mining tycoon Stephen Dattles scored an open pit mining concession at the Pulbari mines in Bangladesh, where his Polo Resources had investments. The coveted perk came just 2 months after Polo Resources gave the Clinton Foundation a $2 million shares. $2 million. Or 2 million shares. What am I talking about? I'm reading it wrong. I'm losing my mind here. I hope you are. New York Times. Clinton's campaign claims she had no idea her State Department was considering approving the transfer of 20% of U.S. uranium. I'm coming. Look, this is important stuff. You can't just stop freedom. All right, we'll stop freedom. We'll get back to Clinton. We got to go, folks. We got to make a way. But I want to let you know you're listening to the Freedom Network. You're watching the Freedom Network from wherever you're doing it. I'm really pumped you are. Keep the emails coming in. I see a few coming in now. I'll answer them. Don't worry. We'll get back to them. We should see you next week. If we don't see you next week, we'll definitely be back the week after. I'm Gary Rosenberg. This is the Freedom Network in the United States of America. For now.